Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families.
And I'm Merrill Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families. And we are excited to have you join us as we talk all things faith, family, and fitness. A special thanks to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency for their support of Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community one family at a time.
Welcome to Rock Solid Radio, and welcome to True Confessions. I'm Linda Hutchinson.
Whoa,
and I'm here.
Whoa,
hang on, I got to introduce you. My husband, Merrill.
I don't know if I want to be part of this show. True Confessions.
Yes,
you
are you
changed
ready?
the title on this.
No, actually, True Confessions, I think, was your idea.
Now it's getting flipped on me completely. True Confessions. Wait, last week the house was on fire. Now you're talking about True Confessions.
No, House on Fire.
You're going to confess, right?
No, House on Fire.
Marriage on Fire.
Yeah, House on Fire was your Strong Dads podcast. We did an exciting Marriage on Fire show.
This show ought to put that one out. Holy cow, True Confessions. I got to see where we take this one.
Exactly.
Woo! Okay.
So let's start off easy, hon. If we're going to, I don't want this to be like a root canal or something, So we're going to kind of be transparent in our show today.
Okay.
And so
Good idea, hon.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I do think this was
This will be our last Rock Solid Radio show as we... Now, this will be good. This will be good. So this is a show of trying to mostly, actually it's for our couples, but it really is within parenting realm and everything, your workplace and everything. And sometimes we feel like we want the truth. We want the truth. And sometimes we find out,
you can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth, right?
Yeah.
And so this conversation is going to kind of dance around that idea and how we approach it within our relationship. We don't always do it great, right? Mm-hmm. We struggle with this, and we struggle with this with our kiddos, and as far as parents. But that's why we're doing the show, right?
And we're going to really talk about why it is so important. It's worth the risk, and we're going to talk about why.
Absolutely,
here.
yeah.
But first, let's do a little true confession, okay? Real quick. We don't have a ton of time, so you go first.
Wait, on what? What am I confessing?
So how about the first girl you ever kissed?
Linda.
Don't use any last names because we don't want the paparazzi to go hunt her down or anything.
Holy camole, this is...
Just real quick, super quick.
Her name was Linda.
Oh, quit.
See, that's called a lie.
Yeah.
And that's when you're saying what you want
Honesty,
to say so that it doesn't give you any grief.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I would have to say my very first kiss. Now, I'm second grade, okay?
There you go.
It was in the swimming pool with Chris.
Okay. There you go. Chris is a girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of like Pat,
Where are you taking this show today?
So my first one, I was in fourth grade, so I was way later in blooming.
Woman, yeah.
His name was Jay, and it was in a bush as we were playing hide and go seek. We were playing hide and go seek with all the kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what we call it, hide and go seek.
And he and I were in the bush together, and so anyway, fourth grade. So anyway,
we got that out of the way.
Before we get any deeper, we've got to pay some bills and thank our sponsors.
All right, so we want to say thank you to Mansfield Insurance Agency. They have built a reputation in business built on caring, listening, and protecting their customers. Mansfield Insurance Agency began in 1981 by Jim Mansfield and is dedicated to serving individuals and businesses in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So if you have an insurance need, call Mansfield Insurance Agency at 800-230-3927.
Maxwell Construction, we also want to thank, was founded in 1988 by John Maxwell. And since that time, Maxwell Construction has grown and expanded to become one of the most recognized commercial construction companies in the tri-state area. And so if you have any kind of construction need, call Maxwell Construction at 812-537-2200.
All right, very good. Couple of announcements coming up. Hey, obviously, we always want to encourage you to listen to our Rock Solid Radio podcast show here that we have. Please spread the message as we try to bring the marriage and parenting conversation up to the forefront. We think it's that important. We think it's way more important than all the politics and everything else that we have going on in this crazy country of ours. If we can get our home more stable, more secure, more dependent on God, this country will start to take care of itself. Also, though, I want to encourage people to listen to our Strong Dads podcast.
Yeah, some people might not even know you have a podcast of your own.
Yeah, so Kyle Crawford and we talk all things dad. And, the last show, he totally threw me under the bus.
Well, you do to him every week.
Well, but I'm allowed. I'm the elder of the bunch.
Oh, okay.
And I should be able to trash him, and he should be able to respect me.
But you can listen to Strong Dads and Rock Solid Radio on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcast, Buzzsprout, our website, all of those, iHeartRadio, all of those platforms. Also, Hun, not only do you have a Strong Dads podcast, but tell them a little bit about your Strong Dads show.
Yeah, so you mean the Strong Dads class?
The Strong Dads class, yeah.
So the Strong Dads class is a Saturday morning class that we do right here at Rock Solid Families, where we have our gym, and we basically come in at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays, and we do a great workout, and we don't really care what level of fitness you're in. Everything is kind of works at the pace that the person can handle. So we do a workout. It's about 45 minutes long or so, and then we go right into really, it's just been a fantastic men's study where, iron sharpens iron, where we take on kind of the subjects of the day. And sometimes that might be, we are maybe talking some politics. Maybe we are talking about a husband-wife situation, and just like, how do we pour into that as a Christian man? Yeah. Not what I feel about it or what one of the guys thinks, but like, well, what's God's word say? So that we're constantly trying to be centered on the rock.
Yeah. And tell them a little bit about Due Day. I know it's October 3rd. It's coming up. You don't even have to be pre-registered at this point. Just come. Tell them a little bit, just real quick, about what's going on there.
Well, you're kind of getting a theme here, guys. We are after dads. And whether it's here at Rock Solid Families or whether it's at some of our local churches, I know Crossroads Church is really big on pushing for dads. And Whitewater Crossing Christian Church down off of Route 128 in Cleves is also pushing hard for dads. And we're pushing hard because we know that if the statistics are crazy, if you get dads involved in the marriage and in raising kids, it's an overwhelming positive. And so on October 3rd, there is Due Day, and it goes from 8 to 1. And, it's not going to be super all churchy and all that. It's just trying to get some fellowship with guys. We're going to be throwing axes, shooting bow and arrow, shooting paintball. But a lot of just fellowship, eating food. And then we do have a speaker. I believe we're going to have John Tisovich doing the speaking.
Who we've done a show with before.
Yeah, and John's very insightful and very challenging. He will definitely challenge us.
Yeah, and Hun, you and I, we work with clients every day. A lot of men come in here and they really say, I don't even have any godly friends. I don't even have any friends that I can lean on and are doing positive things. And so this is just an opportunity to fellowship and meet new people who maybe are like-minded, who want the same things for their family. So we're hoping that. But let's get back to True Confessions.
I don't think I want to.
Why this topic? Because we really are, in a world of 24/7 connections where you can get a hold of anybody at any time of the day and night. But, Hun, I believe we are more isolated and more disconnected than ever before.
Well, first off, you talk about true confessions and why true confessions. Why do you have to confess anything, right? and so the idea here is that we don't always live in the open. We are, by our nature, and please keep this in context, by our nature, we don't always do things right, right? We sin. And so by our nature, we don't want everybody to know our dark side.
Yeah, we hide. Yeah.
We hide, and our kids hide. We hide within the marriage. We hide at work. We're not always super glossy and shiny like we would like to maybe think we are. And, this goes back to the very one of the first stories in the Bible, where Adam and Eve are in the garden, and all of a sudden, they have one command, and that's not to eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. And boom.
Yeah. But before that, they were naked, but they had no shame.
Yeah. Right.
So they were totally naked, totally transparent, totally open, with each other, with the Lord.
And I think
there's
that's a
no
good
shame.
point, hon. The idea that they were naked, and that basically is not so much of a sexual thing as it is totally open.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hide. Okay?
Right.
And so confession is the whole idea is because there's something that we hide.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, and when was the last time that you felt naked and unashamed with someone, and I don't mean really naked in the physical sense. I mean, just honest and open. When was the last time you were totally transparent and honest with someone, even if you knew it was going to hurt them or it wasn't going to make you look good? And that's kind of where we're coming from, hon, is, we struggle with this. I believe at Rock Solid is that, we coach clients, we speak on these topics, we podcast every week, we write on these things, and we are by no means saying we are better than you or that we have it all together, because we struggle just like you do. So we don't want to come off self-righteous at all.
No, I mean, I think this is just a great topic that lets us realize how all of us have things that we are not necessarily proud of, or we don't do well, or it's a mistake that we make. And I think that's critical for us to understanding how we are going to grow and become better versus how we're going to continue to hide and keep things in the dark. And so the hardest part of this whole conversation today is being real.
Yeah.
Being real.
Self-aware.
But that realness comes with a consequence. That's the one thing, like when you're open and you confess something, that doesn't mean it takes away the consequence.
Right.
And the consequence is really what we're running from, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to be in trouble.
So if you're going to try to be transparent and honest with people, the first step is you have to be self-aware. You got to be careful not to judge and condemn someone else in the disguise of honesty. Make sure to get off your self-righteous high horse. That's not how we build meaningful relationships, And so we feel like we're not here to judge you. Left to our own demise, we would be a train wreck. We are.
We are. Let's confess that one.
But with God, anything is possible. And that means that we sit around the table and we have a conversation about how do we get better. Iron does, like you mentioned, iron sharpens iron. And so it's only going to be from surrounding ourselves with people who have permission to speak the truth and love in our lives, who are allowed to be honest and transparent with us, even if it hurts, and us the same with them. And that's what we're trying to do here at Rock Solid Families. It's not that we have it all together.
No, hon, you just said something, though, that I think is the reason why we keep things in the dark. To speak the truth in love. So part of our challenge here in speaking truth is sometimes we're total jerks when we speak it.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I say the truth about somebody, but I basically am slicing them up with it, I'm condemning
chewing them up, spitting them out.
I'm humiliating them, making fun of them, whatever it is.
I'm speaking the truth.
And I hide behind the idea that I'm righteous and I'm the one speaking the truth, but I'm doing it at really their mercy. That's why this is such a challenge. If I knew every time I was going to bring something to you that you were going to receive it in a way that wasn't going to put me in a confrontational or defensive mode, then I probably wouldn't hesitate, right? But there's always that thought in my mind, okay, before I drop this bomb, bomb, what's going to happen? And again, hon, you do a great job of receiving, these messages, but that's a practice you and I both have, because it sometimes depends on our mood. Like sometimes you drop the truth bomb on me, and I'm like, not ready to hear that one.
We'll get to that in a second. But
doesn't happen very often.
No.
Right? Yeah.
Well, Matthew 7:1-5, I think, is an important scripture that we need to talk about. It says, "Do not judge." This is Jesus is talking. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and you, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And then we always use this phrase, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the huge plank? Doesn't say huge.
Mine does not say huge.
Plank in your own eye. How can you say to your brother, let me get the speck out of your eye, when all this time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So we need to take some time, hon, to look at the plank in our own eye. Our own self-righteousness can sometimes be the very thing that is building a wedge or a chasm between you and your spouse, you and your son or daughter, you or your friend. And hun, we've got some planks.
Yes. Well, we definitely have the planks. And I think especially when you let your heart get out in front of you, like in your mind, you think, I'm going to help this person. I'm going to, hun, in our business, people come into us and they're coming into us with
help.
the speck that they want help with in their eye. And all of a sudden, our training is like, well, we want to help them.
You're
and so
right.
we want to go to truth. And so that can really come off, especially like we said before, if it's not done with the loving approach, with the idea that you still care for them.
Yeah.
Then we can come off as very self-righteous.
Yeah. And okay, so here's my next confession.
Oh, man. Is this a tit for tat? Do I have to do a confession too every time you do?
It's up to you. I don't care.
Right.
But I can be so critical of the stupidest things. And I know that shuts down you and the kids and hurts our relationship. For instance, I was thinking about this as we were talking about the show. We're driving several hours in the car, and we stopped to get a quick bite to eat on the way home at McDonald's. And we were tired. We were ready to be out of the car. We were hungry. And I think I corrected both kids in a matter of a minute of them ordering. Like, one was asking for extra fries and one was asking for mustard when I know he doesn't want mustard. Like, it doesn't help build trust and confidence in our relationship. It just shuts our kids down, and I'm very guilty of that. And I've learned, and this is a great thing to write down if you have the same struggle, I need to do better with my words in those moments when I am hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Halt. I got to stop. I got to stop in the moment. I got to bite my tongue. That seems to be when I get in the most trouble, like early in the morning when I'm not quite awake and the kids are like bickering, like I'm all at it. So hungry, angry, lonely, or tired are areas when I know I'm probably going to get myself into trouble.
Yeah. My confession, especially concerning our kids, would be areas that maybe they have struggled with, whether it's grades in school or something like that. And I almost sit back waiting for them to make the next mistake. Like, I want them to succeed, but on one side, I'm looking at, like we have our power school where we can check on our kids.
Too much, probably.
And sometimes, I look at that and I'm like, okay, if I open this and that grade is not improved or coming up, I'm going to jump their case. And it's like, that doesn't mean that we put our parenting a role aside and don't care. It means, how are you going to approach them?
Right.
Are you
being on their butt all the time? Is that really going to help?
Yeah, because there's no doubt that we've definitely shut our kids down at different times and shut each other down just because of our approach.
Yeah. So let's go back to the story of Adam and Eve. After they sinned and disobeyed God, they hid from the Lord out of shame, it says in the Bible. And often I think we cut ourselves off, hun, from the very people that God has put in our life to help us. We may be isolating ourselves because of past abuse, or we're ashamed of something from our past, and we don't let other people in. And those secret places, I think, is exactly where God wants us to, or Satan wants us to stay, in the dark, in the secret. But God wants to use them, every little bit of that, for his glory and for our good.
Yeah. So, but in saying that, so how do I go about letting somebody in, or how do I allow other people to let me in? Okay.
Right.
And I think that this is kind of getting back to the love part again. And so there was an author, Leslie Vernick, who wrote on this and really basically kind of says there's some things that we have to do.
Yeah.
The other person has to feel.
Yeah, she's written several books, and she came from an abusive relationship, and so she writes on healthy and unhealthy relationships, and she says there's 3 ingredients to thrive in a relationship. One is mutuality.
That's a tough word.
Mutuality means that each person brings in the relationship honesty, compassion, and respect. So mutuality is one. Reciprocity is another, which means it's a give and a take. It's not just all you or all me. It's that we have shared responsibility, shared power. So there's got to be this give and take in our relationship, knowing that we have this real equal part in this. And then the last one is freedom. that we have the freedom to express our thoughts and our feelings and our needs without fear of being condemned, of being judged, of someone attacking us. And so if any of those three ingredients are missing, then you have a difficult, unhealthy, and sometimes, even destructive and abusive relationship.
Right. Well, and then the end game is that there's not going to be transparency.
Right. Trust.
We're going to keep things in the dark.
Yep.
And hun, we have talked so many times on this show, because it happens every day in the work that we do with couples, the word of trust.
Yep.
I can't trust
Yep.
what you're going to say or whether you're going to hurt me or not because of the past. And once that trust starts to get broken down, it is really, really tough for us to get it back. So the idea that you have this mutual respect for each other, right? I want to talk a little bit about that, hun. So, like, what does that really look like, that mutual respect, especially when I am getting called out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first you have to build the relationship first. There's an old quote or an old quotation or
phrase.
No, it's an equation. Thank you. Equation that rules without relationship equal rebellion.
Yes.
So you can't, as a mom or a dad or a husband or wife, come in and just bark orders and rules and expect them just like, oh, jump like they're your slave. You have to have a relationship. Otherwise, you're going to have rebellion. So take the time to build that relationship. Model in that relationship honesty and transparency. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Maybe even share some of your secret places with that person so they know, hey, I'm all in, man. I'm sharing my heart with you. I see that as making a difference.
Right. I think that's huge, hon. I think the idea too, like that mutuality, that kind of give and take back and forth, is that idea that what I really mean by that mutuality is all of us give a certain level of permission to other people to impact our life. Okay. And so if I trust you and I think you're a well-intended person and you start feeding into my life, I'm going to give you, your words are going to have greater impact because I'm going to give you that permission. Okay.
Right.
When you start to abuse that, like if you came at me super strong or hard, eventually I am going to, for my own self-preservation, because I'm tired of getting attacked, I'm going to stay away. I'm going to hide. And so that whole idea of us coming together and having that relationship, what the relationship is permission. Yeah. You basically have to earn that permission. All right. And then you give that. And so so important. I mean, otherwise, even that's how kids shut us down. They don't shut you down so much when they're 8 or 9 years old, but by the time they're a teenager, they'll say whatever, and they just walk right by.
And I've
you.
seen this so beautifully modeled, hon, with some parents and teenagers, where I've also seen this handled badly. But if you want your teens to trust you with that last 10% of truth, sometimes give them a safe place to go with the truth. Don't jump to judgment. Don't jump to condemnation. That's not going to help you build trust and transparency with your kids.
And let's
especially
be honest,
our teens.
We've not always done that well.
We've not.
Okay?
We've not.
Well, that's one of those things when we allow emotions to get out in front of us and we say things that are hurtful, and the next thing you know, the kids don't always feel safe. So when we screw up, though, like that, okay, like you and I have recognized, like, okay, well, I just cut their legs off of that, command that I gave. To own that and bring it back around.
What did our older two boys always said? That things were in the 7-year vault.
Yeah.
That things that maybe they did or felt like they were going to tell us for 7 years. Now the 7-year vault is open because they've been out of our house that long.
They slowly leak out news breaks to us about something they did when they were 15. And
gosh.
Again, I think part of that is just natural. But if it's to the point where they won't even talk to you anymore, then you've got a broken relationship.
Yeah, you don't want that. So make sure as a spouse or a parent or as a friend, you've taken the time to search your heart and your motives before you speak the truth in love. Make sure you spend some time looking in the mirror, hon, making sure you get the plank out of your eye. And then, as the Bible says, speak the truth in love. And we also need to do it, the Bible says, with gentleness and respect. So, our kids need it, our families need it, our communities, our schools need it. Man, this nation needs it.
Yeah. Well, this is hard because Hun, part of me dealing with my plank is me having to work. And it's so much easier when I can just shut down and point blame at everybody else. So, we talk about this all the time, and just all of the work that we do. Work is hard, and man, that means I have to get dirty, and I have to go after it, and I have to make changes. And so this is a great opportunity for us to say, okay, before I call you out, I need to confess. And then there's another part to that. Confessing does not really do us much good if we don't work on changing it.
Repenting, yeah. So that's how we get better, though. When we're in relationships with other people, when we are honest and transparent with and trust people, that we find peace and joy. And hun, you and I have seen people just be unleashed with this freedom, this newfound freedom, because they've taken what was in the dark, brought it into the light, and let God use it for his glory. So, man, I hope that you will be inspired by this show. I pray that you would, as far as challenge, spend some time this week looking in the mirror and getting the plank out of your own eye, get that self-righteousness, off that self-righteous horse before you go around pointing anyone else's speck.
Yeah. One of the things I'd like to point out with that, hun, is when you are working on yourself to get rid of the phrase, I'm going to try to do better. No, that leaves you wiggle room to not get better.
Say, I'm going to
get better.
And then mean what you say and say what you mean.
One of the things that gets so frustrating in a marriage are empty words.
Yeah.
I know this is one of my challenges. Yeah. I know I'm working on it. I'm trying. And it's like, okay, this is 25 years. All right. And so the idea that I'm trying is just not solid enough.
Right.
Okay. It's got to be an absolute commitment. No, I'm going to get better.
Be a person of your word. Yeah. Build trusting relationships with those around you by being transparent and honest, speaking the truth in love, doing it with gentleness and respect, and being a person of your word. That's how we really build stronger, healthier relationships.
Are we going to wrap this up?
Yes.
No more confessions?
No more confessions.
I can finally wipe the sweat off my brow.
Hey, if you don't know where to begin in letting others in, maybe you've had some hurts, abuse, maybe hang-ups that you're just struggling with, and you're figuring out, how do I trust people? How do I let people in those secret places? Call us at Rock Solid Families. We do this kind of work every day. We don't have all the answers. We definitely are a work in progress. We're not trying to say we're better than you. We don't make mistakes, because we do every day.
Yeah, we get dirty with you. Wait, I have to confirm?
No, I said you would confirm that with me. Yeah. Don't let Satan convince you this is good as it gets, because that's not true.
No, don't settle for that garbage. Yeah. We're all a work in progress, and I think that's some of the coolest stuff that we get to see, hun, on the other side, when you have couples that say, once I stopped doing this or started doing this, we have a different relationship now. And I mean couples that have been married for 40 years, that are...
Sometimes it's ripping a Band-Aid off with hair around it that really has been on there for...
That's a nice picture.
Yeah, way too long.
So we also just want to ask that you would continue to share our show, Rock Solid Radio and Strong Dads. We are a nonprofit ministry out there just trying to spread the word, trying to help couples, trying to help families. So if there is any way that, like you said, anything that we can do to help, that's great. Also, though, we need your help. If you're a listener, give us a 5-star rating on our shows, share our shows, and also any prayers that you would send our way, we would definitely appreciate those.
And we would want to pray for you. So again, we want to thank our sponsors, Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance, for their support. And thanks again for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. For help or more information about what you've heard on today's show, contact us at rocksolidfamilies.org or call us at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-ROCK. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency. If you have questions you'd like answered on our show, or you want to chime in on something you heard, go to our Facebook page, Rock Solid Families. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, and for my husband Merrill and I, thanks for tuning in to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time.